Alright, hello and welcome back, my YouTube car model building buddies. I'm using Glenn's lines there, my friends. Anyways, yes, I got the glasses on so I can see what I'm doing, other than drinking coffee. Hey, what else does someone do at 1 a.m. in the morning? Well, I did something that I don't occasionally do. I cleaned up my workbench. How about that? I washed it actually, and I can see it now, kind of, sort of, because I'm just going to mess it up right away anyways, put all my tools on. It's a small area, so that's why. Anyhows, I'm yapping already because interior is done on the GTX. Chassis is done, more or less. And the body, well, that is not done. Now, I think tonight we're going to sand it and prep it for paint. And, you know, I've seen online complaints about this body being incorrect and this and that. And I've seen a few complaints on this. And to me, I don't know, looks fairly decent to me. Looks like a GTX. I guess maybe I'm not as crazy detailed as others, but hey, it looks pretty decent to me. And I even got glasses on to see if this body looks out of proportion, but hey, what do I know? Even if I can't see without these, barely, kinda, sorta. Well, the right eye anyways, I got 20% vision out of this eye. So anyhow, I know Johan bodies are fantastic. The old Johans were actually very accurate and very beautiful, and they do look better than this. But hey, you know what? 50-year-old kits are hard to come by, especially the GTXs. 70 GTX is very expensive, very difficult to find. 69 GTX is just as much. The Roadrunners, 69 Roadrunner Johan, those are fairly easy to find. You can still see a lot of them, but I guess they mass produce those more. So anyhow, that means we can move on to bigger and better things. So, if I look a little scruffy, hey, don't mind me. I'm getting ready for my movie shoot coming up, whenever that date comes up. I've been requested to grow a beard-ish. I don't know how many days they're going to give me. This is 2 days, 3 days since they told me, and this is where I'm at. It could be another week. They could be, I don't know, tomorrow they call. I'm not sure. What day is it today? Technically, I know another guy who's working on set are going to be doing a shoot, and he's supposed to go in 2 days, so maybe I'll follow him. Anyways, I'm doing blah 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 already. Actually, I picked up a second acting, or I guess not acting, but maybe a stand-in acting position. And that is the end of this month. I'm going to be doing a movie shoot called Stolen Child. And I'm supposed to be playing a cop on that one. So they asked for my measurements and all of that good stuff. And that one they say clean shaven. So I hope I do the first one where I'm not supposed to shave before the second one. Anyhow, a lot of blah blah blah. Look at that. We're gonna get on this kit. I think that's the plan of attack. At least we'll kind of do a little bit of a start on it, and then we'll go back on the other GTX once I paint it and whatever. I was thinking of prepping this body. However, I have to get a hold of one of the guys asked me he wants this body with the vinyl roof, and he'll trade a regular roof body for this one. That might be a good plan, but I'm worried about shipping charges. From Canada on the middle of an island, you're gonna be $20-30. It's gonna cost more for shipping than it is to buy a new kit probably, so that's why I'm kind of hesitant. But at least I should message you back there, buddy, and get back to you. Other than that, I won't prep the body because I thought of doing both. Man, we might have to do this as a vinyl roof. It's gonna be difficult. I do have a second body, actually. Blah blah blah. Anyhow, now I'm just trying to think things through and what to do. I've got the Hemi GTX kit, but this one has the GSS on the emblems on the fender, so that's why. And I do want that GSS emblem there, because I will be doing this as a big block car. I've got something in mind for this, coloring and all of that. So all the combos worked out in my head already. All I gotta start doing is putting it together. So without further ado, now first things first, when I build a kit, I take these and I just, yeah, so much for that. Then the next part is I just dig right into it. Now usually my plan of attack, I always start with the engine. I assemble the engine and then paint it, and then I usually go on to suspension, interior, and somewhere in between those I do the body. Actually, usually after the engine, I prime the body, because then it can I give it however many, a month or so or a couple weeks to let it dry out and let the solvents bleed out, so to speak. And that's kind of my usual trick. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start hacking away. I got the big block on the tree, automatic car. That's what it is, 440, single 4-barrel. Okay, so this is where we're at, my friends. Right at this part, we got the block started, and I just want to give you one tip before we get too much further, and that is when I glue the cylinder heads. When I put my cylinder heads on, I always mock up the intake first or glue it on, because a lot of times these do not line up perfect. So if you don't line it up, then you get a huge gap between the intake and the top of the cylinder heads. I've seen some cases where you'll go like that big of a gap, and that doesn't make sense. You want it in there tight, like it's bolted in. So I don't usually trust the factory mold casted tabs, so I always do that. So that's what we're going to do first. The other thing I'm going to point out is, look at that detail on that. I hope that comes in. We got the 883 on the oil pan, and if I remember correctly, or 893, those were actually on a lot of Dodges that I had worked with. There was a number stamped on the pan. And the other thing I'm going to do is, once this dries, after I got it, you know, clamped in, give it a day, I'm going to come back and clean up all those mold lines. I see a lot of guys will super detail kits like crazy, do amazing job, and then leave this huge mold line there, and that's not supposed to be there, my friends. That is a smooth part. That is one piece bell housing pan on the automatic. Actually, that's not a correct piece, because that was a bolt-on one on Dodges. It had a little, usually black tray on the bottom, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I worked on these, and I even do the top, even though you don't see that in the engine bay. You will see, yeah, whatever. So this is a perfect example of what I talked about. See, everything's nice and tight. There's no gaps in there. And again, I can't see this mini screen. I can't see on a good day, for crying out loud. So everything is nicely proportioned. I can move the cylinder heads and get them flat to the block, except for that side, because being an RB Mopar, yeah. So I almost cut this tip off right, hold on, pointer, right there. I had actually almost cut that little tip off, and then I realized, hey, this is a RB big block Dodge. They actually angle the distributor, so I'm glad I didn't cut that off, because now it looks properly proportioned. So I can continue on here, I think. Now the rear end, might as well, while I'm here, do it up so I can paint it. Now, very interesting in that that back is separate, and on the real 8 3/4, this is not a separate, it's not a pan. That is actually a part of the casting, so it's very unique that they did this. The center section, that's a different story, because you can bolt these in and out on the Dodge 8 3/4, and because there's numbers on the transmission, I was almost curious if there's numbers on the diff case, because 489, the last three numbers of these diff cases, that was the best diffs for Dodges. It was the strongest. It was built in the late 69s, and it was also denoted usually that it was a lock, a posi, or I guess is the correct naming on that, even though I think they called it, I don't know what Dodge called it, sure grip, that's it, sorry, excuse my French. Wow. If you don't work with stuff every day or do cars every day, you forget a lot of the terminology and a lot of the numbering. But anyways, the 49 case was the best on these Dodges, so we'll put that in and prep that. Actually, I might, let me research, I might have to paint this primer and that black, I can't quite remember. So yeah, too technical, right? So, technically we're going to leave everything as is, get ready for paint. That is going to go the typical cast iron color, and I'm going to leave them on to paint that. I'll paint it on the tree. The pulleys are black, flat black, or rubber for the pulleys. Distributor, I think the cap on Mopar's back then was tan, and with obviously the silver distributor. So I'm going to leave everything on to detail it. And yeah, I think that's a wrap for today. Got to start on things. So there we go, my friends. A little bit lengthy of a video, a little bit too much blah blah blah, but hey, sorry about that. Sometimes I have no friends and need to talk to people, and that's you. Anyways, we're hand polishing a steam train, believe it or not. It's a lot of work. We gotta break the bank and buy a electric polisher. Anyhow, my friends, we're gonna go back to working on the steam train, and we'll catch you next video. I guess this is it, my official entry into the USACC group build of the Dodge Dart. So we'll chuck you out next time. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, actually I'm gonna post a little video clip riding the rails, and yeah, that might be my next video intro. So cheers until then. Oh, I forgot, I was supposed to do the car show video like 2 weeks ago and upload that. Car show on an island. Okay, blah 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 blah. Shut up. See you later. Stay awesome, my friends. There we go. We got it.
You're gonna load it back in?
Yeah, it's okay. We're gonna keep going. It's his exercise.
Yeah. We're letting you back in?
What?
We're letting you back in?